Welcome to the Centre Court Specialised Masters Festival with my co-host John Byrne. We're spending the day with senior leaders from both admissions and careers of leading business schools across the United States to go beyond the MBA and find out more about the portfolio of great early career masters programs that are going to build the business and management skills to achieve your career goals. Now, at the top-ranked Kelley School of Business at Indiana, whatever your underground background, whether that's music or science, public affairs or engineering, you're going to bring a unique perspective to the MSM classroom. And in one intensive year, and I promise you it will be intensive, you're going to build incredible momentum to expand the next steps of your career. So to discuss the Masters, the MS Management in greater detail, I'm joined by Danielle Ritchie. Danielle is the Director of Graduate Admissions and Student Recruiting, and Rebecca Cook, the Executive Director of Kelley Career Services. Danielle and Rebecca, lovely to have both of you with us. And perhaps, Danielle, we can see the Kelley School behind you, but we'd love to start telling us a little bit more about such a special place, and then, of course, the MSM.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us, Matt. We're excited to be here to share more about Kelley School of Business here at Indiana University. We're located in Bloomington, Indiana. The mission really for the school is to transform the lives of students and organizations. We emphasize a lot of our values on ethical conduct and integrity, innovation in programs, as well as collaboration and collegiality. We have a portfolio of graduate degrees that we offer both in residence and online. Matt mentioned we are going to focus today on the Master's in Management. But overall, regardless of the program, when you step into Kelley, we really focus on career momentum. So I'm excited that our Executive Director, Rebecca, is here. This idea of going from moment to momentum in a student's professional life as well as personal, we try to prepare our students with real world prep here at Kelley. So at the undergrad level, it's more about learning about the memorization of things, where at the grad level, it's all about application. And so we'll talk more about that and probably throughout the next hour or so.
Well, just quickly, it's lovely to have Rebecca back, a friend of the Centre Court events. Danielle used a very powerful word, Rebecca, transformation. Now, you see all of these, early career coming through the program. That's a big ambition. Do you see that in each of them?
We do, because these students are coming from a variety of backgrounds, as you mentioned kind of early on. It's from all different spaces, and they're choosing to add a business layer on top of that education. I mean, they could be coming from Kelley, but they could be coming from the music school here or anywhere else. So really, it's a transformation of understanding what they've done in the past and how they can add business to that, and then take that into the business, well, I'll say the business environment because, but really any company's a business. So into the working world, let's say it that way. And really take that and take everything they've learned and they are transforming themselves. They are taking, again, whatever they studied undergraduate and then building on that to be successful in their next
Well,
career.
yeah, we'll,
And
we'll be
this
talking,
degree,
I guess, later on about that range, entrepreneurship, real estate, technology, general management, so many different options, which must be in candidates' minds, Danielle, when you first meet them, thinking about different, graduate management options that they have. How do you like them to think about, their own passions, their own goals and experiences, and
Mhm.
why the MSM might be the right program for them?
Yeah, I would start off by saying that this degree doesn't define them. It helps shape them. And so really looking at their backgrounds, looking at those transferable skills, and looking at their areas of weakness. We all have strengths and weaknesses, but maybe they do have a background that non-business and they want to go into human resources. Maybe it's psychology. It's leveraging those skills into a management degree to set them up for success. And so really showcasing that and not letting them stick to, I'm only a psychology major. No, let's pull out more. Let's pull out more of your story. Let's pull out what you're interested in and how you're going to be able to articulate that to recruiters to tell that. We can give you the breadth of business. You have that subject matter expertise and understanding the way people think. And so being able to couple that, being able to focus on those different layers of part of the conversation and showcasing that they don't just have to stick to one pathway.
Right. And perhaps juniors and seniors in college or early career. Um, an application process that is perhaps an opportunity to step back and really think about that and then next steps in their future. You're getting to know them too. So how would you encourage candidates to shine in this admissions process, but also perhaps you talked about both strengths and weaknesses and bringing all of that to the application?
Yeah, being authentic is first and foremost when it comes to the application. We don't want to read an application and read things that you think we want to hear because it will show. And we'll read it and we'll be like, well, this is not really a candidate. And it's not just about cultural fit, it's about cultural add. So those are two important things that we're looking at during the application process. So a candidate that can share what have they done in their past? Were they a part of any clubs, organizations, volunteer work? We want a well-rounded individual. So being able to showcase that, because it's not just also the input, we're looking at output. So if they're able to tell their story up front, that's going to make it easier if they are self-aware for the recruiting process, and being able to learn that side of the business to couple in with the job search afterwards. So authenticity is first and foremost, the cultural add. What can they add to Kelley? It doesn't just have to be we're a business student. We want to see well-rounded individuals in that sense. So being able to tell their story is going to be incredibly important throughout the process.
Right. This idea, Rebecca, of shaping your future that Danielle had described, from your perspective, how do you encourage students to think about career direction? Because, they might have done a couple of summer internships, based on courses and studies that they're doing. Is it to keep things very open and to be able to explore different options?
We try to do that because, again, students are coming from so many different backgrounds, and a lot of them are not necessarily aware of all the different areas they could go. So, really trying to help students understand there are lots of options out there for an MSM student. And we start in the summer when they start classes, but really doing different panels of alumni and speakers of this is, maybe you want to look at supply chain, maybe you want to look at real estate, maybe you want to look at HR, maybe you want to look in sales, a marketing role. I mean, all these different areas that students often have never even thought about or
Mm.
didn't know about. So it's an opportunity for us to help those students really open their minds and not think, oh, I only want to do X.
In terms of colleagues and Kelley Career Services, someone walks in and says, "I want to be VP of at this company and this role," and perhaps quite specific. I'm sure you take that on board, but in initial sessions like that, how do you sort of explore with them what that path might entail and some of the other opportunities they have available to them?
Sure. So that could be a good step later down the path. Generally, you don't start as a VP of something. But really what we sit down, the students start right away with their career coach. They have a dedicated coach that works with all the students in the MSM program and really start thinking and creating a career action plan and starting, okay, who am I? As Danielle said, how can I tell my story? What is my story? How
Mm,
do I think of my skills, my interests, my values? What am I really here for? What do I want to, what do I think I want to do? Or what are the skill sets that I have that I want to amplify? And really work with those students to then help them put together a plan, literally, where then they work throughout the summer and then throughout the year, meeting with their coach, but doing different classroom sessions to help them on that path, thinking, okay, yes, I want to be a VP of something, but what are the steps I might need to do or jobs I'd need before that? So let's back that up and get you on that right path to, again, for that eventual aim, if that still stays true, of that VP role.
right. So we've still got the VP role at a subsequent stage, and perhaps that balancing act of both immediate career opportunities as they graduate from the program, but all of this is building stepping stones
Mhm.
for the next 5, 10 years of their career, right?
It is. And a lot of, when you think about it, you're teaching management skills, right? And these students are almost right out of undergraduate. So they're learning the skill sets they're going to be utilizing over the next several years as right away, they may not be managing anybody, but they will be managing people in the next couple of years over
Mm.
time. So they're gaining the skill sets. They're getting ahead of some of their peers who don't have this other, or don't have this degree.
Right. Lots of unique and individual stories, Danielle, that then come into the Kelley MSM classroom. But something that seems to bind all of the Kelley students, this incredible enthusiasm, loyalty for the program. Now, if I ask both you and also perhaps some of those students and alums, what makes the MS in management so special? I'd love to hear from you, but also some of the things that you hear from others.
Yeah. Well, we just launched the program last year. So we just had our first graduating class. And what stood out to me most in that first year was how motivated the students were. They motivated each other, they wanted the best out of the program, and so providing feedback. And that's what the faculty chair, Richard Ash, and I really enjoyed most was how motivated they were and how collaborative they wanted to be. And I think that speaks volumes because that's something that Kelly prides itself on. So for being able to build that culture within the first year, I think just is huge. And then the other thing that they talked about was how close knit they were as a cohort. Yes, they motivated each other, but they didn't have sharp elbows. They were really wanting to help each other with job searches, with interviews, within the classroom. And so that is the type of environment we want to continue to foster and develop year over year. And that's something that this current class heard a lot from the student ambassadors last year. Like this is the MSM way of really looking out for each other and being a part of the experience.
Some among them might have been considering, well, I could come back to business school 3, 4, 5 years later for an MBA, or of course, you have one of the world's top online MBA programs that they could have built into busy working lives at a later stage. The thoughts on, no, I wanted to do this now and get that management skill, that the sort of leadership skills Rebecca was referring to, was that very key in their thinking and the timeframes that they were working with?
I mean, to take a step back, there's a degree for everyone, and it comes down to when. And
Mm,
so, a candidate now for an MSM program that 0 to 2 years, well, they wouldn't be a fit for a full-time or online program, but they want it now. And so, that's why this degree was really helpful and to develop so that they can get these skill sets. For those that weren't ready, maybe they had a job offer and they wanted to go into the workforce right after graduation, then they make a career pivot. Well, then they can go into a full-time MBA. Or if they want to continue and develop their skill set, continue in maybe the industry, then the online degree if they have 10 years of work experience. And so just having these different options allows candidates an opportunity to think about, all right, what's the right time and what's going to be the right fit for me. And so it's great to have these different opportunities for students. If someone came out with 5 years of work experience, well, the MSM wouldn't be that fit.
mm.
There wouldn't be that value add for them in the classroom, whereas the full-time MBA might be a better fit, again, depending on what their career goals are. We don't want to just place somebody into a graduate program. We really want to find the right fit for them, coming down from a financial standpoint, from a curriculum standpoint, and also from an employment standpoint as well.
Right. Recruiters, Rebecca, a long list, Accenture and Amazon, Bain and Bank of America, Macy's and McKinsey, the list goes on, PwC and Procter and Gamble. Um, they have a long tradition with Kelly and everything that they love about graduates from the school. Now, that incredible enthusiasm, the collaborative nature of this MSM class, as they were meeting students last year, the sort of feedback that you had about the graduates of the MSM.
Well, as Danielle mentioned, last year was the first year of the program.
Mm,
So a lot of the year was explaining and talking to employers about what the program is. And so what we did is we had different separate times for these students to come in to, if we have career fairs that were in person, the students could come in early and really start talking to these employers. So there's a big effort from our employer relations team to help sell the program in and of itself. So the employers knew what they to expect. But then the students themselves, I mean, they did a fabulous job of going in and really showcasing what they're learning, how they could add value, how their undergraduate degree, whatever that was, tied with the MSM really created a unique package for employers that they then could take and be brought into an organization, really jumping in right away, understanding the business side of whatever the company is, and then adding value.
right. Given some of the employers and some lifelong careers that you could build in those organizations, are they excited to then have access to Kelly graduates compared to some of the MBAs? even earlier in that career trajectory and the careers that they'll start to build in their companies.
Very much so. I mean, there we have companies calling every day looking for Kelly students. So whether that's undergraduate or graduate, either way, but I mean, adding in these degrees there, it's opening a new section, I guess, of students who may or may not be Kelly undergrads, but now have added that Kelly 1 year add-on, the
Mm.
MSM degree or other MS degrees, to really, build again, have that skill set that then employers really want. And these students do really well in their companies, and we've heard very good things from them.
The future of work, hashtag everywhere. I mean, skills, Rebecca, that you think, skills and mindsets, Danielle was talking about integrity and, ethics, the sort of things that help Kelly graduates stand out and bring so much to the workplace. What would you identify?
I would say Danielle mentioned it a little bit, but experiential opportunities that they have during the program, really good opportunities to actually test, utilize the knowledge that they're gaining. It's not just academic. It's okay, I learned this. Now how do I actually implement this?
Mm.
So there's opportunities like that, multiple different ways that the students can do experiential learning within the program. I would say also critical thinking, and there's a lot of time spent on that because that's something that's really in demand from employers today, and especially in the age of AI. But how can I actually look at this? How can I take, like Danielle mentioned, a psychology major beforehand? So, or one of you did, but using a psych degree and understanding a person, how people think, and then taking that plus the business side and really looking and say, okay, how can I take this combined knowledge and add an increased value to a role?
Yeah, they can both read the room and read a balance sheet. That's a
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
combination. Daniel, one obvious question. I mentioned the intensity. How do you fit everything in? Because working with Rebecca and her colleagues, such a comprehensive program, but having fun too and being part of the Kelly culture.
Yeah, it's definitely a work hard, play hard mentality. They're going to be pushed to learn quickly in the first year and apply practically. So we start if their student comes in with a non-business background, we actually have a business foundations pre-program that they will do. So they'll get everything from accounting to finance, marketing, quantitative methods, strategy, business law, and ethics before they even start the program.
Mm.
So about 60% of the students of this incoming class were non-business majors, and so they took that. And then they'll start the program in the summer, and they'll be taking core classes. This year we changed it up and with career services. We actually in the mornings, Monday through Thursday, were core classes. In the afternoons, they would have career prep or communications workshops to work on their presentation skills. And so they did that for all of the summer in July and in August. So that way they were prepared before recruiters came to campus in
Mm.
September for on-campus recruitment fairs. And they had everything as Rebecca mentioned earlier, panels. They did podcasts on different career paths that they could go into so that they could learn more about what is operations. Is that a pathway that I want to go down versus human resources? And
Mm.
so it just gave them an opportunity to explore. On top of that, we have a 1.5 credit management launch where they learn about their leadership style. How do they manage teams effectively? In addition to that, we do have the social component. So we just had homecoming weekend. I mean, IU football this year is completely, I mean, they're coming out of, I don't even know, left field. Ranked number two, we had a tailgate with all of the MS programs for one of the football games. We do a lot of cross collaboration with the different programs. Even with MBA, there's a Halloween party that's coming up with all the MBA and MS students so that they are not just siloed into their one group, but they're expanding their network. Kelly was just announced of having the largest alumni living network. And so being able to embrace that, embrace the students while they're here, is truly unique and that they get to have that long term. So that
The
they're not just like,
largest.
here's MSM, they are in with a class with a student with MS in finance.
Mm.
And it's just going to open their eyes. Like I keep saying, open their eyes. It's truly a transformative degree. And I
Mm.
mentioned earlier, we talk about from moment to momentum. I like to think that this is momentum in motion while they're
Mm.
here in the program and experiencing all of these opportunities in the classroom. with top-ranked faculty as well as their peers, as well as great colleagues in the Career Services Office, and also with our Student Services team.
Right. Well, with that momentum, Rebecca, the graduating class and in the current job market, some of the perhaps sectors, positions, across the range of
Mhm.
graduates, what are the sort of results that you're seeing from the class of 2025?
Yeah, the students went into a variety of areas. Some went consulting, HR, sales, trying to think what else. It really, I mean, there's lots of opportunities available to them. And again, it's as Danielle mentioned, with the panels, we try to showcase all the different possibilities that could be there, leadership development programs. So it really was a good variety of opportunities for students. One went to the NCAA. It's so okay, something different, right? But again, it's looking at what the students are interested in, and then where they might end up, what the possibilities are for them to end up. But overall, I mean, I think each of them would say that the degree itself added a lot of value to them in
Mm,
both personally, professionally, but then it also in terms of a monetarily in terms of salaries and things, depending on what their undergraduate was.
mm,
But it did definitely open doors, and then opportunities will come for that second job or third job for
mm.
post
And
graduation as
and
well.
do the recruiters sort of say, there are great technical skills, we know that they can handle the numbers. That's been a key part of the program. But, we also know with the Kelly grad, this ability to work in teams or the agility that you were referring to. Are those characteristics that recruiters will often refer to as making the difference in the hiring process?
Definitely. Kelly's known across all Kelly. I mean, Kelly's come in and they roll up their sleeves. They just jump in and they can do whatever it is. And they're willing to do it. They don't have egos. I mean, they do, but not to the extent of not a lot of other students. But they're willing to take on whatever and learn and grow and then keep going from that. Yes, the students are known. They can come in and work in teams. They're collaborative. They are competitive, but not in a negative way.
Right.
I think
I
of a
think
good way to say
Danielle had said no,
that.
no, no sharp elbows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that sense when they're putting together their applications, Danielle, it's not, as we said earlier, you don't have to have the job title in the company, but are you just looking to get a sense of self-awareness perhaps just a coherence to how they're going to use the MSM with a pivot or the acceleration of the next steps of their career?
Also, their coachability and potential. Those
Mm,
are two key things that we'll look at, and especially during the interview process, when I'm talking with them, I know they're not going to have all of the lived experiences as maybe someone in a full-time MBA program. But if they're able to articulate and share some of those stories and know how a part-time job, maybe as a waitress, what are those skills and how are they going to use that within the program? Time management, they have to have that timing down when they're a waitress, to people skills. Those are all types of things that we'll look at. And then the coachability piece is incredibly important because
mm,
if they're not going to be open to exploring or they think they know everything, that's a huge red flag to us. So being
mm.
coachable is going to be incredibly important, and that what we look for in during the application review process.
It's a really great point. The sense of coachability and being open to new ideas, new ways of thinking about things. Is that something that also you are able to capture in an interview stage?
Yes. So we don't have a set curated list of questions because, we all know that sometimes people will share the information and then they can prepare and have rehearsed responses. Or now with, our friend ChatGPT and AI and all of that. So
Mm.
really being able to dive into their experiences, understand the intentionality of why they did something, and why, what was the outcome? What did they learn out of it? So we try to personalize each interview with a lot of behavioral based questions. We're not looking for them to solve quantitative problems. We really want to get to know them and be able to see, are they coachable? Are they willing to learn? Do they know themselves? Are they wanting to learn more about themselves? And how we're able to do that.
Right. Moment to momentum, Rebecca, and the very personalized approach. Everybody has an assigned member of the careers team that they're then working with. Um, to what extent are you then touching on, personal values, things that matter to them and the careers that they could then pursue? I'd love to sort of understand that relationship that you're building, perhaps a mirror that you're sometimes holding up to them to really get to know themselves and how that's going to manifest in the next steps of their career.
Yes. And again, we start early in the summer for those students who are here early, and then other students we start a little bit later. But really it's an opportunity for the students to delve in and think about, who are they? What do they really want to do? I mean, some of our students end up starting their own business, and
Mm,
maybe they test the corporate world and say, that's not me. And that's okay. And so really working and understanding each student on an individualized basis of what are they really driving for? What is important to them? Maybe it is starting their own company. Maybe it's spending more time with family. Maybe it's living in a certain geographic area. Whatever that is, it's an opportunity where we get to work with that student and understand that, and then help them follow that specific path, whatever that
right,
looks like. Um,
right.
the flip of that also is sometimes helping them understand, maybe we should, you seem very narrow on this. Are you willing to look broader?
Mm,
And what broader being could be geography, it could be industries, it could be, areas of looking at. But just testing that again with those students and trying to come up with ways where they can come out of the program feeling really excited for what they're doing next.
right. And mentoring with alums that themselves are now established in their own careers, is that something that's available to them?
Well, there's no alums there now, I guess, one class of alums from MSM. So, but they can utilize other Kellys. And like I
Mm,
mentioned within the panels and other times where we bring in alumni to speak to the students from all different areas, those alums are always happy to work with those students or reconnect with those students on a personalized basis versus the larger group situation.
right.
So it's really, yes, I mean, all Kellys are happy to talk to Kellys. Whether it's an
Right.
undergrad alum or a grad alum, it doesn't really matter. It's more of, if you're a Kelly, doors open with that. And MSM
Mm.
falls right in the middle of that as well.
Well, the power of the network, Danielle, the largest living alumni network. So there's something in the spring water in Bloomington. They're all living to 115 years old. Um, but just how that will play out, becoming part of this Kelly community, which is going to serve them for the rest of their careers, friendships, but professionally. I mean, that's an extraordinary ROI, that whole
Mhm.
connection that you're providing.
Yeah. It's a very broad ecosystem that these students have access to, from career to alumni support. It just means like you don't just have one connection. You have a world-class business network that you're able to tap into and to ask questions, to be curious, to be open-minded, um, and not to be shy of, hey, I'm interested in this career path. I'm going to reach out to this person on LinkedIn. So being able to step out, and I think too is a lot of our Kellys are humble, and there's a lot of I think of the entrepreneurs and the businesses they started, and they just think they're everyday people, whereas some students idolize them, and that's their dream. So be able to have access to them and talk to them. Um, it's leaders. I like to think that Kelly shapes leaders with that have heart, and
Mm,
that want to give back. And so these students can really benefit from it.
right.
Like Rebecca.
Humility is
Rebecca's
good.
an alum, not from the MSM program, but an alum of Kelly. And the way that she gives back, her husband as well.
Yeah.
There's just so much that alums want to do and provide these students
Yeah,
because they had such a great experience. Mhm.
we see that at Centre Court, both her wonderful humility with all of the results that she and her team achieve, and the generosity that lies behind at the heart that you're talking about. The fact, perhaps contrasted to undergrad, which sometimes, has you looking at the theory of music or international relations, whatever your initial study background, Rebecca, to then bring in such an experiential back to this sense of transformation, to
Mhm.
put things into practice. Is that you sort of see a light go on and it's like, wow, how fantastic to be able to apply what we're learning into real world situations?
Definitely. And you could take a music degree, right? Theory of music. Okay, what do you want to do with that? And how, let's if I put a management degree on top of that, learning the marketing side, learning the some finance side or accounting side. So maybe I want to open a business. Maybe I want to join an existing business in a kind of a creative role. There's lots of different ways to take that business knowledge and then build on whatever it is you of the base that you have from the undergraduate side. And again, it is transformational just because it's opening eyes. And like I said before, everything is a business. You don't always think of it that way, but it
Mm,
is.
mm,
So sometimes the word business can be scary to different to different majors, and oh, I don't want to do that. But really anything is a business in some way, shape, or form. So it's how, if knowing this knowledge or having this knowledge added on to whatever my passion is, which is maybe what they did in their undergrad, really can develop a very interesting and rewarding career.
right. So Thanksgiving, just a few weeks away, the family's coming together. Let's imagine there's a niece or a nephew that comes back and says, Aunt Rebecca, I'm three years through my undergrad studies, really not sure what to do next. How would you then encourage them, to look at these different options and of course, a program like the MS management, just to then open these doors and explore so many great opportunities?
That could actually happen. Now that I think about it. But but no, I think, if a student comes to me or an undergraduate student comes to me and is really, it's like, okay, I'm majoring in whatever, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. And do I want to, I'm looking at whatever it is, and maybe there's some options there in terms of careers, or maybe I'm not seeing as much. How can I expand what I'm looking at? And that's where adding on an MSM or one of the other Kelley MS degrees, depending what they're interested in. But really something like that again, because by adding that business layer on top of it, it opens up so many different options. And
Right.
it'll raise your salary in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So but again, it's a skill set you're never going to regret having.
Mm, mm. Yeah. We should make this essential viewing for families across generations before Thanksgiving gets here, and they're all having those sort of conversations. And then, of course, Danielle, next step. So perhaps a final question, the people that are following this and would love to reach out to you and your team, find out more about the MSM, some of the best ways to connect with you and learn more.
Yeah. Our website is first and foremost our main tool that students or applicants can go to look at more about the curriculum, the application requirements. But of course, they can always schedule a one-to-one appointment. We have those available on our website. We have upcoming in-person as well as virtual information sessions that they can sign up. So they don't just have to go to IU to go into a master's in management program. We're constantly traveling to different markets to recruit students. So being able to look at our event calendar and finding the right time, but always we're available through email. KSB grad, so Kelley School of Business grad at iu.edu is also another way to reach out to us and schedule time or just simply ask questions. We're here to
Mm,
help. That's when you mentioned, if you had a niece or a nephew that was interested in a program, I'm constantly doing that. Like I could be on the plane and someone's talking to me. I'm like, oh, do you have, an advanced degree? What are you looking to do? We're here to help. We're not gatekeepers. We're not trying to like, we simply just want to help.
yeah,
So
yeah, I think
reach out. We want to be your best friend.
great. Well, every quality and characteristic we've described in the students starts with you and your teams and how all of that filters across. So it was wonderful to be able to capture so much of that at Centre Court. Thanksgiving's a few weeks away, but thank you. Thank you for such a great session. And we look forward to viewers that have followed this live or now watching this in the coming weeks. Reach out to the Kelley team. That honestly, every interaction I've ever had with the school has been phenomenal. So, Danielle, Rebecca, great to have you here today.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
Matt.
much.